Well, that was a quick break. Let's move this thing down here where you can hear me. All right. One of the most difficult things to deal with in this whole issue, and one of the most emotional things, is what to do with the people that are here now. What do we do with 11 million people, 20 million people, 40 million people, whatever number you want to use? What do we do with those people? There are some people that believe we should take every one of them and arrest them and deport them and round them up and off they go. There are some people that believe we should give them all amnesty and everybody should stay here, that there should be no penalty and no consequence for breaking our laws and coming into this country. But somewhere in between there is a middle ground that allows us to deal with the people that are here in a humane way that has consequences for the appropriate level consequences for the illegal action that they took in coming to this country or staying in this country after their visas expired. This bill attempts to address that. There's some holes in it, some things that need to be fixed. There's a little bit too much discretion to my liking in there with the Department of Homeland Security right now. Senator Cornyn's amendment addresses some of those issues and puts some GAO oversight on it in addition to DHS oversight. So right now, people like to throw out the word amnesty. It's a word that's become really pretty meaningless because it's applied in any situation. You could give somebody 10 years in prison, oh, that's amnesty. Really? A system that would give a fine of $2,000, a probation of 10 years minimum, law enforcement background checks repeatedly throughout the process, requirement to file and pay taxes appropriately across the time that they're here, make up back taxes for the period that they were here where they didn't pay taxes. That doesn't sound a lot like amnesty to me. If I got a ticket for speeding, a misdemeanor, and the judge gave me 10 years probation and a $2,000 fine, I don't think I'd feel like I got amnesty. I think I feel like I got punished pretty hard. And that's what we're asking the government to do, is to punish people at an appropriate level, but also to accept the culpability of some of the things that we did wrong along the way as well. The times that we didn't insist that our government enforce the law. The times that we didn't stand up and make sure that the system of government was doing what it was supposed to be doing. It used to be a day in this country where you could elect a public official, send them off to Washington, and go back to work. Well, there's not many people in this room right now that believe that you can do that anymore because we have to babysit those people. We have to watch what they do every single day. And we have to make sure that they're doing what we ask them to do as their employers. We don't trust our government. We shouldn't trust our government. Our government is here to serve us, and they have not served us well. But that doesn't mean we just throw in the blanket and say, well, they're not enforcing the law now, they'll never enforce the law. That doesn't solve any problems, but just kicks the ball down the road. It's our obligation as citizens of this country to get involved in this process, to sit down with our representatives and demand that they take action and demand that they do the job that we sent them there to do. And if not, then it's our job to get up off our couches and replace them. And we've done that a lot in the last few years. There's people there now like Senator Ted Cruz that are there because we didn't want the status quo. We didn't want a government we couldn't trust. There are people there now like Senator Hill from Utah, or Senator Lee, excuse me, from Utah, that are standing up against the government, that are standing up against the leadership and the parties in the government, that are making people listen to the will of the people. It's not the same government now that it was 6 years ago. This is not the same bill that the 2007 immigration reform bill was, that would have allowed gang members to get immunity and amnesty. This bill has strong provisions in it to make sure that the criminal element of the illegal alien population is identified and removed from the country. This bill has protections in it to make sure that our border is secure and that no person becomes a legal permanent resident until we have measurable border security. And by measurable, Senator Cornyn says that means a 90% apprehension rate. 90%. We're currently at 40%. And as I mentioned earlier, that 40% number is really a bogus number because they don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they're missing. They don't know how many people come in under the radar that don't get caught. So the situational awareness, you know, that term, I don't like that term, but that's Senator Cornyn's term. What that means is that we have eyes and ears on the border 24/7 that can identify and prioritize any illegal crossings coming across the border, using a wide variety of technology, using manpower, increasing manpower to 10,000 Border Patrol agents. Right now, there's more police officers there in New York City than we have Border Patrol agents protecting thousands and thousands and thousands of miles of U.S. borders. And that doesn't count all of our ports of entry and coastlines and all these other places. But at some point, we as citizens have to demand that our government do the job. We have to give them the tools. Right now, there are no tools in place for people to come here legally in certain aspects. Right now, there aren't the tools in place, the manpower in place to enforce the laws. I hear a lot of people say, well, just enforce the law. Some laws are bad and don't need to be enforced. They need to be fixed. We need to fix these laws that are broken, that don't serve the needs of this country today. And that's what I'm asking our government to do, and I hope that's what you'll ask your government to do. You know, we have some representatives here tonight from Congressman Stockman's office. I hope that they'll take this message back to him. I know he's doing a good job for us, and we need to continue that. Congressman Poe is the chairman of the Immigration Reform Committee. He's going to come back to this community during the summer and talk to people here and get information and find out what we want this bill to do and how we want it to do it. We're not going to just pass a bill. It's not an emergency. There's not a rush. This isn't some crisis that has to be solved right now, but it does have to be solved. And it takes the involvement of people like you that would take their time to come out on a night like this and listen to me, and listen to Linda, and listen to George and Larry. We don't have any power to change anything. We don't have the authority to change anything. But we do have the ability to talk to our representatives, our government, and get those people to do what we want them to do. So stay involved in the process. Look at the bill. Look at what it really does. Look at the holes that are in the bill that need to be fixed. Senator Rubio says these holes need to be fixed. And then get a hold of your representative and say, I want this taken out. I want this added in. I want this strengthened. I want that changed. They'll listen. And they'll listen to you. Thank you.